Students, I often find that you people confuse identifying different parts of the alimentary canal. Now, as you know, that alimentary canal has a lumen inside. So this is a cut section. I have taken a slide with a section of the alimentary tract with a folded lumen inside, and I will go on describing the basic layers of the alimentary tract all along. You will find some differences amongst the different features of the layers as we go down the alimentary tract, that I will describe later on. But first I will describe the basic 4 layers of the alimentary canal irrespective of the level. So what are the layers? The layers from lumen away from it, they are the mucosa, that is just adjacent to the lumen is the mucosa. Then there is the submucosa. Then there is the muscle or the muscularis externa. And then finally there is a layer called serosa or adventitia. For peritoneum covered areas like the stomach or the jejunum, ileum, the layer that is covering the outermost aspect is the serosa. It is a thin layer of simple squamous epithelium or mesothelium. Where peritoneum is absent, as in retroperitoneal structures like duodenum or ascending and descending colon, the covering is not serosa. The covering is a connective tissue layer which is called the adventitia, and it is made up of fibroblasts, collagen, elastic fibers, etc. It actually is an anchoring tissue. It anchors the alimentary canal to the surrounding tissue and body wall. Then, so that's what I have described, that is the outermost layer. And if I move then inwards, then the next layer is the muscle layer or the muscularis externa. The muscle layer or the muscularis externa is generally of 2 layers. Outer longitudinal, as you can see, and the inner circular. The stomach has an innermost layer which is called the oblique layer, but you can hardly decipher that very distinctly. So for all practical purposes, remember alimentary tract has 2 layers, that is outside longitudinal and inside there is a circular layer. The type of muscle, this muscle externa, is the smooth muscle. Why smooth muscle? Because it is beyond our control and it is under the autonomic control for undergoing peristalsis. The upper part of the esophagus, however, has skeletal muscle, because that helps in the deglutition part, which is a voluntary act. So the upper 1/3 of the esophagus is purely skeletal, the middle 1/3 is skeletal mixed with smooth, and the lowermost is the smooth muscle. Skeletal muscle is associated with deglutition, which is a voluntary act, as I have said, and this maintains the upper esophageal sphincter, preventing air from entering the esophagus, because otherwise with each swallowing act then the air would be coming inside. So that skeletal muscle actually prevents the air from entering the esophagus during deglutition, and also since it's a sphincteric action, then it also prevents the reflux of food from the esophagus. Then the third layer, that is within the muscle layer, we have got the submucosa. It is a connective tissue layer which supports the mucosa, because mucosa is the innermost layer. And what lies within this submucosal layer? Blood vessels, nerves, then lymphatics, and some glands also. In the esophagus and the duodenum especially, the glands are the mucus secreting glands and the bicarbonate secreting glands. Why are these glands are important? Because they neutralize the acidic chyme of the stomach. In duodenum, the specialized glands are, however, have got a special name, which is called the Brunner's glands. The same act of mucus secretion along the remaining part of the alimentary tract is done by the modification of the columnar epithelium, which is called the goblet cells. So from there the this mucus is secreted from the goblet cells in plenty to keep the alimentary tract moistened, and especially in the large intestine, it actually helps in the proper defecation process. Then finally, the innermost layer is the mucosa. It has three parts. From outside inwards, it is the muscularis mucosae. Now, this is also a layer of smooth muscle, but very thin layer, not as thick as the muscularis externa, which is the main muscle layer of the alimentary tract. So, outermost layer is a muscularis mucosae. Within it is the lamina propria, which is again a connective tissue layer, which lodges some blood vessels, etc., and glands also. And finally, there is the mucous membrane, which stands on the basement membrane. The mucosa, or the epithelium as it is called, is a single layer of epithelium, that is a simple epithelium and columnar type. So it's a simple columnar epithelium, and this is for absorption and secretion purpose. It sits on the basement membrane overlying the underlying lamina propria. Underneath the lamina, as I have already mentioned, there is the muscularis mucosae layer. So these are the four layers. From the lumen outside are the mucosal layer, that is the firstly the epithelium, lamina propria, and the muscularis mucosae. Underneath this mucosa, these three layers together form the mucosa, and underneath it is the submucosa, and underneath that there is the muscle layer or the muscularis externa, consisting of two layers, that is the inner circular, outside there is the longitudinal layer, and outermost layer, depending on whether it is peritoneum covered or not, it is either